Hey, I'm Sylvanians and I make videos about Sylvanian families, also known as Calico critters. And today I have 25 ideas of things I'd like from Sylvanian families in 2025. This is kind of separate from the 40th anniversary and it's more suggestions for brand new items or themes. I did a similar video last year of things I'd like to see along with some leaks, but I thought it would be fun to do a set number this year. And if anyone from Sylvanian Families or Epoch are watching, then please take my ideas, and also I'll happily accept any prototypes as well. So in no particular order, the first thing I want is a documentary. We had the animated film in 2023, and there have been other TV shows over the years, but I think an official behind-the-scenes story would be great, specifically one showing things like how Sylvanians are made, or how concepts are created with designers. Maybe a retrospective over the last 40 years too would be lovely to see, and even some of those prototypes of things which were never made. Some people think that this is probably unlikely because Japanese companies tend to be quite secretive about their processes, but there was a news piece when production started being done in Laos, and that had some behind the scenes things. It's a really interesting video, so I'd recommend watching it. The Sylvanian part starts about 5.5 minutes in. Alternately, if the documentary focused on the past, maybe that would be okay, so less secretive about production. It could even be centred around the exhibition if that doesn't come overseas. So yeah, a documentary would be fab. Next, I was thinking about new families, and when I was thinking about the figures, I was trying to think outside of the masses of cats and dogs and rabbits that already exist. So in terms of other cute animals which already look kind of like Sylvanians, I feel that quokkas would work so well. These are native to Australia, and we also have koala and kangaroo Sylvanians, so these seem like a good next step. I think quokkas got popular a few years ago because they look like they're smiling, so that would be absolutely adorable in Sylvanian form, and they could have some green plant or scrubland themed outfits, or even go more Australia themed somehow too. My next suggestion is just more for the children in general. The babies have enough activities, and I really don't think there needs to be all these large amusement park sets which can only be used by them. There used to be a new school every few years, but this one has been around for quite a number now, and I think it exemplifies how the children have basically been ignored. So I don't necessarily want a new school, just more sets that are scaled correctly for them. So that could be amusement park sets, or a playground with a roundabout, even just taking some of the items like trains and swings, which are for babies, and adding a bigger seat would be an improvement, like this flare garden playground set, which could be used by both children and babies. My next idea could maybe be related, but I think a skate park would be such a good addition to Sylvania. I don't think there have been any skateboards before, even though it's a well-known activity. I did think it could have been made into a set when skateboarding was added to the Olympics last year. Playmobil is another toy brand, and they have a park set with various slopes which can be moved around and positioned in different ways, so that's quite fun to actually play with, and apparently the skateboards work well for Sylvanians too. There are rollerblades and bikes already in Sylvania, so I don't think that skateboarding would be too much of a stretch either. Next, I have absolutely mentioned this so many times before, but I think grandparent figures need to be made again. There used to be grandparents made for pretty much all the families, and I have quite a few, but right now the only ones available are the chocolate rabbits, and they don't seem to get pushed much at all, such as the fact that they're missing in this chocolate rabbit celebration set for the anniversary. A user in the Sylvanian Families subreddit called Maria Greski makes versions of families, and they've made ones for lots of the new families. I love the glasses and smarter outfits on the granddad figures. So yeah, I'd love to see grandparents be added to more recent families as well, like the penguins or flora rabbits. Also, maybe I'm applying the real world to Sylvania too much, but the ageing population is a real issue in a lot of countries, including Japan, yet Sylvania seems to have the opposite problem with no older creatures and tons of babies. Next, I think there should be more in-person events or pop-ups across the world. So for this, I was thinking of official events with the mascots, like maybe a screening of the film when it gets its worldwide release, which should be this year. And while I am biased towards where I live in England, I know we've been spoilt in the past with some pop-up stores and the old Sylvanian shop events, but other countries deserve Sylvanian things too. There was a pop-up shop towards the end of last year in a mall in New Jersey in America, and Epoch also has stands at some recent Comic Cons, but they still miss out lots of collectors, and the Comic Con events were both announced really quite late, so it wasn't really possible for everyone to get tickets or go. But those events do give me hope that this could be possible, and the brand is more open to this kind of thing, and going to other events. I did say I wasn't going to talk about the anniversary, but there'll supposedly be an exhibition travelling around Japan for the 40th, so why stop there and make that travel around further? Next, this is more of a prediction than a request, but I'm guessing there will be a new Dalmatian family. We had brother John in the dashing Dalmatian fashion playset, and baby Carl came with the new hot dog van. They used a mould similar to the Labradors, rather than the old mould with a more rounded face, or the Beagle-style Japanese family. So I'm expecting these two will have a larger family to go along with them, although maybe John and Carl will just be orphans. I was surprised at the recently announced construction theme for the new blind bags, so I started thinking about other blind bag themes which haven't been done yet. One idea was a baby medical series, or baby doctor series. This might be a little odd, but there were nurse outfits in this old baby little workers series, and obviously Sylvanian Families have done an ambulance and various hospitals before. So the babies could be in white coats or scrubs and then have accessories like a stethoscope or a bandage headpiece. You could even have a visitor with a bunch of flowers or some fruit. One baby could have a hospital meal and be in a little gown, or any number of different options. And then if this went along with a new ambulance, that would be amazing, as I think this one only had a UK release. It might have been in Australia as well, I can't quite remember. For another blind bag theme, I thought of arts and crafts. So you could have a paintbrush and palette as an accessory, maybe some clay or half-made pottery, pencil crayons for drawing. I've included some of the pictures from gacha capsules, which have some of these things in, so it should be possible at a low price point, which would be good for blind bags. Or this crafty theme could even have things like cross-stitch or quilting to be more on the textile side. I just think that would make for some really cute accessories. Another series I'm shocked we haven't had yet is a sports series. Maybe the accessories would be too simple if it was just a football. Maybe they could add shin pads or a mini goal or something. Or a tennis racket and ball maybe. I think baseball is pretty popular in Japan, so that could be good with a couple of bases as well. And again, maybe this would have been good with the Olympics, especially when Tokyo hosted in 2021. But I think it would be fun to see little sports uniforms on the babies in a variety of colours, and even better if the sports equipment could be used by children or adult figures too. Another option could be a school or kindergarten theme. A commenter on a recent video actually suggested this, and I absolutely agree that this could be good for a blind bag. There could be new colours of the kindergarten uniforms, and accessories like books and desks, or other stationery like a little calculator, or go old-fashioned with an abacus or chalkboard kind of style. This next suggestion is kind of random, but there have been lots of boats in the past, like the canal boats, Marita May pleasure boat, and the little rowing boats. But as far as I'm aware, there's not really been a water piece for these to go on. This is one from the Adventure Treasure Ship, but it's pretty small, and I don't like the solid blue colour, which doesn't really look like water to me. I have this from a little woodsy set, and I like that it's kind of translucent and has a wavy texture. It looks more realistic, like the Willow Day Waterside Swing set as well. So I'm envisioning a large base plate, like the cobblestone ones, but looking more like a pond or other kind of body of water. For a new overall theme, a magical theme could definitely be explored more. I've not got any specific sets in mind for this. Perhaps a castle like the old Misty Forest one, but in darker colours. Or smaller sets with pretend potion bottles, or different plants and herbs. And this overall vibe. The figures could have robes and costumes as well, and maybe lean more cottagecore even. Maybe some crystals as well in there. The magical series of blind bags are my favourite ever series, and I love all the accessories like the cauldron and spellbook, so these can be made bigger and more detailed for the other figures. Again, more of a theme than specific sets, but I'd love to have an art set. I don't know if there's any figures who are officially painters, but this seems like an oversight from Epoch. An easel and a couple of card paintings would be adorable, and maybe a paint-splattered apron on the figure too. There are paintbrushes and cans of paint, and gadget capsules of an easel for the babies, so a bigger one ought to be feasible too. I could see this being a playset with figures included, and items for a still life like fruit and flowers, but even just the furniture with an easel would go down so well, I think. Dream would be a full-on artist studio building like this, but more lived in with paint splatters on the floor, and then this could go along with the arts and crafts blind bags. A library has been one of my dream sets to be created for so long. I mentioned it in the video last year. I've also made my own out of the old 80s schoolhouse, and it's a complete missed opportunity for Epoch to have not made an official one yet. It wouldn't even need to be too complicated, just some built-in shelves and basic style books with lots of stickers, and foldable paper books too if they needed to keep costs down. With Epoch's love of the babies, they could have a little section for them too. Also, focusing only on books would keep it in World 2, so no computers or technology like modern libraries have in real life. I want a Sylvanian Highland cow. I made this design last year by editing the Buttercup Cow Father to show what I was imagining, and I think it's so cute. Epoch could use the same mould as the cows as they already have it, and just make it brown with a bit of hair on top like the new ponies, and that'd read as Highland Cow for sure. They could have little tartan outfits too, like the Milwaukee's Terriers, and it would be such a good family. I'm really holding out hope that this will be made at some point. This is another thing I'm so surprised hasn't been done officially. So adult-sized clothes or other Sylvanian merch. There's lots of fan-made ones, like all of these on printing sites. And in 2023 there was an official collaboration with Uniqlo, but that was only baby and toddler pyjamas. They could have used that same fabric print and made cushion covers or bags, and I imagine they would have sold amazingly, as the design is so cute. But some other official merch with various characters on would be great too, and I think they'd be super popular if they lent into the trinket trend as well. So I also started thinking about collaboration options. There have actually been quite a few over the years, most famously with Ladore macaroons and Sanrio. Those were very successful and I can't see why they would stop. So I was thinking about other brands which could work with Sylvania, and an obvious one is Studio Ghibli. I'm definitely not super familiar with all the films, but the overall vibe is pretty whimsical and nature inspired, so could be a good fit in some way. Another famous Japanese company is Nintendo, which has so many brands that could be great with Sylvanians. So imagine little Pokemon costumes for the babies, like these custom ones, maybe with accessories too, like the Sanrio set. It could be smaller too, just with 3 starter ones, which I will always think is Bulbasaur, Charmander and Squirtle, or with some of the popular Pokemon like Pikachu or Eevee. There's so much to draw on with Pokemon alone, but Animal Crossing is another major Nintendo brand. Maybe it's already so Sylvanian Families coded that a collaboration wouldn't actually work well, but I still think it could be nice. Perhaps that would have been timed better when New Horizons was brand new, but both brands have been popular for ages, so I'm sure there would be a good time for both. Okay, last of the collaboration suggestions is Tamagotchi. Imagine the costumes for the figures, they could be adorable, and I don't think this is out of the question either. There have been collaborations between Tamagotchi and other brands like Sanrio and Harry Potter, mainly with their characters being put onto Tamagotchi, I think. There are the old Sylvanian games on the Game Boy Color, so it could be a fun way to bring that to the present day. Alternately, you could have the Sylvanian figures dressing up as Tamagotchi characters, but I feel like I've brought up that idea with the previous suggestions. There are also teeny tiny Tamagotchis in a mini brands capsule, which this user on Reddit showed works perfectly with Sylvanians, but maybe that's too technologically advanced for them. Another idea I spoke about last year is a coffee shop. I want this as a building so badly, and really hoped it would be released with the Latte Cat family given their name, but Father Matteo seems to be working at the Burger Trek and Cart. I think a cosy coffee shop with armchairs and low tables would be adorable. There could be a big espresso machine with lots of cups and interchangeable drinks like in the Sweets party table set. Also additional accessories like bags of coffee beans would be perfect. This Japanese set is one of my dream items, and I love the old style grinder in there. Maybe a more realistic option for a coffee shop would be to do one as a starter shop set, like the ones we have already. This could also have more of a takeaway option, especially as there's already coffee cup moulds from the latte cats. Honestly, I'd even accept a pull-along cart at this point, and Daniela Fontana could run it. I think the Sylvanians need to get drinks somewhere. That could also be a boba shop, and I do think this could be differentiated and made a bit more funky and modern if the coffee shop was kept with a darker colour scheme. I see a lot of lighter coloured boba shops with like neon signs or other colourful decor, and it could be a good addition to Sylvania and fit with the colourful pastels in lots of the new sets. This bubble tea shop is from Row Life and is so cute with a pink strawberry theme and shows that it is possible. I think some collectors do use the various Row Life sets with their Sylvanians, but the scale can be a little weird, like this TikTok had it with the babies. I think Miniverse had a boba machine in their mini appliance capsules. I really wanted this, but it just looked too big for the Sylvanians. The little boba drinks look adorable though, and you could add those stickers to the top too. Okay, so next I was thinking like a default building which could be used as a shop or cafe or other purpose that doesn't completely look like a house. So perhaps like these older buildings which are a bit wider with large windows and a door without a letterbox would be enough to make it not read as a house. Then this building could be used with the starter shop sets, the bakery and doctor and patisserie ones. They look a bit weird to me in the Cosy Cottage starter house, I think because the building reads so much as a house. So I think there needs to be another kind of more commercial themed option. These older shops all use the same or very similar moulds, so you could switch out the furniture and accessories and make it something different, which I think worked well. A kind of default building would also work if Epoch are moving away from the shops with specialist buildings, as this sort of plain one could serve lots of purposes or allow kids to make their own shops with other items like a furniture shop or clothes shop. Basically, I just want to stop seeing these starter shop sets in the Cosy Cottage. Another slightly odd suggestion is for more fabric textures. So I have seen this a little bit more in some families, but I love when the clothing isn't completely plain fabric. So the Husky father has a fluffy jumper which is really nice to touch, and other families like the Snow Leopards have silky parts on their clothes and a bit of fluff on the dad's top. But the different textures make the clothes way more interesting. Sometimes there are more gauzy layers on dresses, like these side pieces on Sharon Fenwick, but I think that this could be done more. I'm not sure if this would work at Sylvanian scale, but imagine trousers made out of denim for the figures, or little dungarees. That would be so cute. And within this, I am not talking about the plastic clothes. I would love to never see these again. And my final idea is a request for more kind of weirder animals. I'm sure the reason for the plethora of cats and bunnies is that they're cute and sell well, but I do like when we get kind of weirder or more unusual animals too. I guess the older bulrush frogs are a perfect example, and while I'm not actually bothered about getting these in my collection, the fact they exist is great. So maybe other amphibians or even reptiles like lizards or chameleon figures would be interesting. Hopefully they'd still be fuzzy. Or even less cutesy animals. We have the seals, so maybe one day we could get a walrus with big tusks like the wild boars. I know the moles aren't to everyone's taste, although I really like them. So I think they could focus on making interesting animals and see what works. But yeah, that is the end of my list of 25 ideas for Sylvanian families, with some of them more well thought out than others. I'd love to know what you think of these ideas and if any particularly stood out, so let me know in the comments as well as any ideas you have too. But with that, thank you for watching this video until the end. If you like Sylvanian Families content, then subscribe to my channel as I post videos every week about everything Sylvanian, including chatty things like this, as well as hauls, unboxings and news all about the new things going on.